Gentlemen, let's broaden our minds. Lawrence?
Hello, everyone. I'm Marcus Kimbrough, and on this episode of Staying in My Lane, I will be discussing the movie The Joker, played by Joaquin Phoenix. How does this stack up with the other Jokers? And I will do this without ruining the movie for any of you. The episode Tears of a Clown Prince starts right now. Okay, so first of all, let's get a couple of things out of the way. Um, when it comes to this movie, you have to take into account that this is a standalone movie for the Joker. So it's basically about him, his origin story, as far as this. Okay, so first of all, let's get a couple of things out of the way. When it comes to this movie, you have to take into account that this is a standalone movie for the Joker. So it's basically about him, his origin story, as far as this Joker goes. So because of that, there's no Batman for him to play off of. There's also the build up that you wouldn't get. You got that in this movie. So and where you have an antagonist and a protagonist in a movie, with this being the Joker movie solo film, then he's actually both. So I'm trying to do this without spoiling anything. All right, so just take that into account if you haven't already seen the movie and you plan on going. Now, let's get this other thing out of the way. As far as how the movie is a really good movie. I mean, the acting, the storyline, as I said before, it does take a minute to build up to where it's trying to go. But that's only because that this is a standalone movie for the Joker. So therefore, there's character development that has to be done. Um, you have to look at backstory. You have to look at the other people. How are they involved in it? Their character has to be built up. It's so many things to take into effect. Plus, you like I said, there's no Batman, so therefore, there's no, well, he's going to save the day, or trying to counter with the Joker or whatever like this. So there's nothing for him to play off of. He's basically the Joker. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about the person playing the Joker first, Joaquin Phoenix. Joaquin Phoenix is, I had to look this up, and I shouldn't have had to look it up because I've seen a lot of movies with Joaquin Phoenix in it. I think we all have, and he is a very accomplished actor. So I mean, as far as actors go, he's a heavyweight when it comes to great actors. I mean, he's been in like Ladder 49. He walked the line where he played Johnny Cash. He did an excellent role in that. He played her where he pretty much talked to himself. That's one where he's talking to his computer or whatever. He falls in love with his computer. If you haven't seen it, it's a pretty good movie, and that shows off his acting skills. And I think he won an Academy Award for having just sitting there with basically no co-star. You're just talking to your computer. So Joaquin is a great actor, but he's not the first great actor to play in this role. Of course, Jack Nicholson played Joker in the Michael Keaton version of Batman, and he really started this off. I mean, well, the other guy from the '60s show started out, but Jack Nicholson came out with a flair that we hadn't seen, and his origin, if you haven't seen this, it's like almost 30 years old, so that's pretty much your fault. But his origin story is that he's working for this guy, this mobster guy, and he's actually sleeping with the mobster guy's woman. And the guy finds out, he sets his name is Jack Napier, up to be killed, and like set him up by the police in order for him to be killed. Jack escapes, but on his way of escaping, Batman catches up to him and drops him in this batch of acid and messes his face up where he has the permanent smile and everything like that. The hair changes color. So they used that to explain all of that, which was great. That made for a great origin with what the little time they had. Seems how the movie was not based on him; it was based on Batman. But of course, at that point in time, Jack Nicholson was a much bigger star than Michael Keaton, so they pretty much had to give him something like that. All right, so at that point, uh, Jack, you know, goes back to his boss man, and he's shocked that Jack is still alive, and he's trying to reason with him. Hey Jack, maybe we can cut a deal, and Jack tells him, hey, Jack is dead. You can call me Joker, and as you can see, I'm a lot happier because he's got this permanent smile or whatever. So he shoots the guy like till the gun runs out of ammo, and you know that plays into him being out there. Of course, he was kind of out there even before that, but now he's really out there. I mean, he's really going to the point where he's trying to get Vicky Vale, and Batman, he's trying to take over the city, but Batman keeps stealing all his prey.
Batman. Can somebody tell me what kind of a world we live in where a man dressed up as a bat gets all of my press?
It's like no matter what he does, everybody's talking about Batman, and so that's what kind of fuels him. Now, moving forward a little bit, then you had Christian Bale to come into the picture playing Batman. So they had Liam Neeson to come in the first movie, Batman Begins, as far as their origin story. Then you had The Dark Knight to come out, and you had Heath Ledger to play the Joker. And, everyone's like thinking like, Heath Ledger, is he really going to do well with that? We're used to seeing him in lighter stuff. So Heath Ledger comes out and he nails this role like it has never been nailed before. A lot of people say this might have contributed to his death, him overdosing on pills or whatever like that, because he got so into it that I guess he couldn't turn it off. But he really nailed the role. I mean, it was a point where he didn't actually refer to himself as being Joker. It didn't seem like he had a plan or anything. It was just, hey, I'm going to cause some mayhem, and I'm just going to sit back, and I'm going to see what happens. And that's basically what he did. Of course, in that year, like I said, you had Christian Bale trying to catch him. And his only thing was, even when Batman was beating him up, he still found that to be so humorous, like even told him, like, you're going to have to break your one rule, which was Batman's one rule is never to take another person's life. And, Joker played off of that. So Heath Ledger did a phenomenal job in that. Then moving on to Jared Leto with Suicide Squad. In Suicide Squad, you kind of didn't have Batman and you kind of did. Batman caught him or whatever, but, he really wasn't in the movie. It was basically about a bunch of criminals. So at that point, he was like not a supporting role, but even a supporting role to the supporting role, I guess you could say. He was fueled by his love, his obsession for Harley Quinn. And it wasn't the kind of love of obsession where, I want to give my heart to you or whatever like that. But it just turned into the point where, okay, this woman loves me. I want to see how far she's willing to go. When he's in the Arkham Asylum and she's actually treating him because she was a doctor at that point in time treating him. And he asks her, I need you to do something for me. And she's like, what? He says, I need you to give me a machine gun. And she's like, okay. But it actually does that. Gets the machine gun for him. So basically he knows that he has her at that point. But he inflicts pain on her just to, see how much she can take, how much she's willing to endure for him. Now, Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker, and don't worry, I'm not spoiling anything for you guys. Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker is like a new take on it. When you've got an accomplished actor such as Joaquin Phoenix playing him, then you pretty much can just put anything in there. Just hey, do this. Just do your take on it. Let it go. So, and that's basically what he does. Um, Joaquin, he plays into the Joker's. See, how can I say this without ruining anything for you guys? He plays into the Joker. Joker is supposed to be a little detached from reality as far as, hey, uh, I'm misunderstood. You guys are seeing things one way, I'm seeing things another. I'm just trying to get people to understand what I'm going through, the pain that I'm suffering from, or whatever. So his origin, his backstory, like I said, it's gonna take you a minute to build up to it, but once you get to that point and it starts breaking down, 'cause there was a wow moment in there for me, which I should have seen coming, but didn't. So, but you know what I'm talking about if you've seen it, or if you haven't seen it yet, you'll know it when you see it. So, now that I've broken down that, the four people who have played them, all right, so who do I feel is better? And I guess people say, well, it's no contest. Heath Ledger is the best one. Joaquin did a phenomenal job. He really did. But he just brought something to the role, just wow. But you have to take into account Heath had Batman to play off of. Joaquin did not have a Batman to play off of. He basically had to play off of himself. He had to be the protagonist and the antagonist. So I still got to get a nod to Heath. I am putting him second over Jack Nicholson, and I didn't think anybody could take Jack Nicholson's spot. I really didn't. But I am going to have to put him over that. And then after that, well, I didn't bring up the Killing Joke Batman for a good reason. If you haven't seen the movie, you can check it out if you want to. It's not the kind of movie that you would expect. It's way too much going on, is all I can say on that. But anyway, so I'm gonna have to put Heath Ledger here, Joaquin right up under, and then Jack Nicholson right up under that. Sorry, Jack, I hate to do that to you. I'm still a big fan of yours. The other thing about it is Heath and Joaquin are actually bad boys in real life. They, even though they play like the movie role, they play the good guys or whatever, but they're bad boys in real life. So basically, I felt like it was just them letting out steam as far as playing Joker role. Now Jack Nicholson, he had the movie with The Shining. He was The Shining. So therefore, he's used to playing that crazy off the beat role or whatever like that. But as far as Heath and Joaquin, both of them dealing with substance abuse or whatever like that. I mean, it's known that Joaquin was dealing with some substance abuse. He had to go to rehab for alcoholism. As I mentioned before, Heath Ledger died of an overdose before The Dark Knight even came out. So, and that was heartbreaking. We wanted to see how they could take that, if he could be in another movie. I mean, and then too, you kind of didn't want to see him in another movie because you just look at it to where that was like the best that you feel like you could have gotten out of that performance. Anything less than that, anybody want to look at as a failure. So I'm not saying that I'm not happy that he died or whatever, but I'm just saying that I don't think he should have played the role again regardless. Now, moving on to as far as I mentioned about Joaquin having the alcohol problem, being checked into the rehab. There are times in interviews or whatever where he does not seem coherent at all. But like I said, that just goes with how that stuff can get to you. And he was in an accident one time, and I get this big producer guy actually kind of saved his life. He played it off like he didn't do anything, but he really saved his life. So, um, like I said, for me, it's still gonna be Heath Ledger's Batman. I mean Heath Ledger's Joker. Sorry, to be the better one. So, all right. So that is going to conclude the comparison. I'm gonna take a small break, and then I'm gonna come back with a final word. Be right back. Okay, so my final word for today is starting as a teen or a young child as acting can be so stressful. You're thrown into the public eye, and a lot of times you're not ready for it. You're not ready for it because your mind is not to that point where you're ready to accept the fame and attention that you're getting. And that kind of thing can cause depression, which can lead to alcohol and it can lead to drugs. Not many people can come out of it and turn their life around. So you just feel like you once you decide in your mind that you're gonna get clean and that you're gonna do this. Most of the time the studios don't want you anymore. They feel like it's too hard to insure you, and so they don't want to give you that chance because they feel like, hey, you're just gonna go back to doing the same thing. You're gonna mess it up. We already invested money in you. Then we gotta get somebody else, pay them, and we already insured you. So at that point, you just need that one person to give you that big break to kind of turn your life around. Am I talking about Joaquin Phoenix? I am actually not. I'm talking about Robert Downey Jr. This man made the biggest turnaround that you can possibly make. He starts off, he's on drugs. Um, he's getting fired off of jobs. He got fired off Ally McBeal, all of this stuff. And then he finally makes it up in his mind he's going to get himself clean. He looks at that one shot, and that one friend, Jon Favreau, gives him that shot. And he turns it all the way around by playing Tony Stark, playing Iron Man. And I don't care what you say. Prior to that, yeah, we still had Marvel movies, but because of Robert Downey Jr., we have the Marvel Cinematic Universe now. And the years that he played Tony Stark, Iron Man, I mean, those were probably what made him what rebuilt his success, and not only rebuilt his success, but it rebuilt the success of Marvel. Because of that, they were able to come back in with a Captain America, with a Spider-Man, with an Infinity War, with an Endgame. They were able to um, take over the movie industry the way it is. I mean, not too many people don't know what Marvel movies or whatever like that. So the Black Panther movies, the Captain America. Next year we got the Widow movie. All of that, Robert Downey Jr. being clean played the biggest part in that. So I ask you, is Joaquin, who's had alcohol problems in the past, is he on the way to turning his stuff around all the way around? I mean, he's already an accomplished actor. Gladiator, Ladder 49, um, Walk the Line, Her, as I said before. But now with Joker, could it be putting it back together? Because let's not forget that he is the same person that in 2008 said that he's quitting the industry to be a rapper. And that was at a time when it wasn't that many white rappers, but he was quitting the industry to be a rapper. He said that he did come back and said that it was all a joke or whatever. It was for a movie role that he was doing. But, he said this publicly. The only thing I can say about Joaquin that I really liked is the way he stood up to Academy Awards and saying that it's a bunch of nonsense or whatever like that, because it is. I mean, anytime that someone like Denzel Washington only has one Academy Award, come on, you know there's an issue. But can we be seeing Robert Downey Jr. again as far as Joaquin goes? Are you on the path to where now you're going back to making movie after movie after movie? I mean, let's not forget, he's only 45 years old. So he does have a lot in front of him that he could do. All right. So that's going to be all for this episode. Appreciate you tuning in for the Monday movie segment. As I said before, this episode was called Tears of a Clown Prince. Be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. Definitely make sure you subscribe. Tell all your friends about it. Until next time, I'm Marcus Kimbrough, and this has been Staying in Your Lane. In my lane, sorry.
Jack. Jack is dead, my friend. You can call me Joker. And as you can see, I'm a lot happier.